Milo Denison, and this is Rip It Up. On each episode, we pose a few questions about the issues that are impacting creatives around the world today.
And I'm Kev Bamboo, and tonight we have with us Lucy Dowell, and we are talking about going back to the theatre, as well as them being our giveaway winner.
Yes, congratulations, Lucy. So we had a giveaway, and welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you.
So as congratulations for winning our little contest giveaway, you get a signed copy of my book. Do I have it here, actually? Although, unless you're moving to Ireland, it's probably completely useless to you. But it's useful for anyone who's moving to Ireland, but it will be signed. You get a lovely 8x10 print from Kev, the fantastic photographer that he is. Great. And this is even better. Juanita Ray, our previous guest, has donated a lovely piece of artwork as well.
Oh, wow. I loved her.
Oh, I know. Like, her artwork was absolutely beautiful. So
yeah, really good podcast too.
And as well as all those fantastic items as well, Lucy, that you'll be planting 5 trees. And also the giveaway received around 30 shares across social media. So we'll also be planting an extra 30 trees as well. So
excellent. No, that's really good news. Anything to do with nature, I'm all for it. So
excellent.
And I never win anything, so it's even better.
Well, that was my question. So in life's goals and out of everything you've achieved, how does this rank?
Oh, here.
Up here? Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's got to be. I mean, don't know where the bar is, but it's got to be. It's got to be up there.
So, okay, well, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're into gardening and watching birds. Is that right?
Well, recently with the COVID lockdown, I've had to adopt my hobbies. I'm big into my health and fitness and the gym. So I've had to tweak that a little bit by walking. And it's amazing what you can see when you're out and about and you actually stop and pause for a second. And so I invested in 2 pairs of binoculars. And I now have a subscription to the RSPB. And I'm on my little tick list of birds to look out for around the world and country. So yeah, it's been quite an eye-opener. It's been quite nice, actually, and peaceful.
What's the RSPB?
So it's the Bird Society.
Okay. Is this...
So it's the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. So it's the UK's... I don't know what the American version might be.
The American version is probably, how many birds can you hunt this week, I guess, probably would be the American version.
It's like a treasure hunt for birds. Yeah. And it's amazing if you spot a robin, with a darker breast or a redder breast, how exciting it actually is. But and listening to different choruses in the morning, it's and it's one of my little games with the dog in the morning. What can we hear this morning? So
that's cool. That's probably fun to do, though. You're right. It would get you out into nature and actually paying attention more to what's going on in nature.
It does. It makes you pause for a second, which is nice.
And you also have a passion for theater and musicals. Is that right?
I do. Yes. Yeah, one of my big passions. So anything that can evoke emotion in a song or music or a sound or just somebody that can translate something from a stage to an audience, for me, is amazing. Whether that makes you laugh, cry, it's angry. It's just very, very poignant to me that you can, translate that kind of emotion when you're trying to reenact a real life situation. It's quite a talent.
Yeah, I think
to do on a stage.
Yeah, to be honest, I think for a viewer, it's a massive draw. Obviously, that if you're going to the theatre, you want to feel that emotion. You want to believe that character, and I think. Yeah. When theatre gets it right, it's one of the best places to be. I mean, I don't know about yourself, Milo, in terms of theatre acting when you're viewing as well. Like, it's one of the most kind of emotive experiences, I'd say, because you're really there with the actors, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I have, if it's a good performance, I have a much more of an emotional reaction to it than, say, watching a movie or something like that, even though a movie has the music and all that kind of stuff, because they're right there. And I know what goes into creating a performance. And so if they're able to get that out of you, it's absolutely much more moving to me, I think.
Well, I think just talent, you have sort of one crack at it when you've got a live audience. So if you get it wrong, it can affect the whole experience for that person.
There's definitely a little bit more pressure. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
no amount of rehearsals and things is when it comes down to
and you're in the moment with it as well. I think you feel part of that experience, and sometimes it's pure escapism, and I think escapism can be really good sometimes as well, whether it's happy or sometimes people want to experience lower emotions, but majority of the time it evokes a happy emotion, which is nice.
Are you here in London?
I'm in the Midlands. East Midlands,
okay.
Derbyshire.
East Midlands was okay. So you're a bit of a ways because London. This is the city for theatre.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait to get back to the West End.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally.
So, we actually thinking about obviously the theatre and things like that, and especially from a more public perception, because you being our giveaway winner and not being, an actual actor, but we tend to put out a little, public response survey because we like to include the public in what we're talking about and see what their thoughts are. So we asked the public just a really simple question, and it was basically like, have you ever had dreams of appearing on stage as a theatre actor? And we kind of had a little few comments on it, and some people were like, yes, absolutely, like the West End is my heart. And then we got, no, not at all. No, like a few people just like, no, not interested. Not interested in theatre at all. And then you got kind of like, I really love the idea of being an actor, so a lot of people really would have loved to. So obviously different things in your life get in the way and you can't always kind of pursue those dreams. And then you got usual kind of things, you get people making kind of comments like, oh so you think I'm Carmen, huh? So obviously they know about the theatre, but then they're like, oh, you think that I was going to be an actor? It's like, so yeah, there's just a few there. We'll probably come back to a little bit more later because we've still got that running. And we might have a few more comments come in as we go along as well. So according,
you've changed your career from when you were much younger to now. Is that right?
Yeah. So my background was health and fitness, and I've sort of had a strange navigation into HR, but lots of experiences along the way. So, but it's nice to have a change as well. Sometimes that's forced. There's a lot of people out there now, especially because of the pandemic, that have had to look at changing what they do for a living, especially I could imagine in theatre. People have had to look at changing what they do moving forwards for even if a short period. Quite difficult to do.
Sorry, did you say you do HR now?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Okay. What instigated the change?
I've always been a people person, and I had the courage to qualify for my CIPD, which is the equivalent what you would do, an exam for human resources, sort of degree level, and graduated from that into the role that I'm doing now. So I was very fortunate to get a role quite quickly, but it comes quite naturally to me. I'm quite a people person and can empathise, and yeah, I think a lot of the roles that I've done over the years have sort of navigated towards that end goal. So I could see that a lot of the experiences that I have had have been quite a pivotal moment within those changes. So they're all for the greater good.
Have you been able to do that remotely with the lockdown, or did you have to go in?
Yeah, some of it I've had to be sort of field based and on the road, but the majority of the time it's been, from home, which is really good and very grateful as well.
When I think HR, I think the person that's either responsible for dealing with like firing, hiring, or reprimanding.
I don't do, we have this whole team, so there's a lot of people that have a role in those kind of things. But yeah, thankfully I'm kind of at the bottom of the level, so maybe I might work into those roles. It's
not the Alan Sugar or whoever did the
unfortunately not. Not just yet.
but talking of things kind of like career and like earlier life as well, like kind of looking up a few things, just that says that you once applied to do several voiceover roles for The Little Mermaid. Is that right?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The movie or?
Well, it was a local production of The Little Mermaid, so not the official. But it's one of my all-time favourite Disney films. I'm quite a big Disney fan. Anything stage and music, anything that's got music in is a big passion of mine. So that came upon a job offer somewhere as a casting. So off I went, and so I had to put on an American accent, which didn't go down great. Not as good as yours, Milo. But,
reasonably convincing with my American accent.
The reason why I didn't quite get it, but it was a good experience.
On a side note, I took my first voice lesson yesterday to do a British accent.
No way.
Go on, you've got to do it.
So I'm going
you've got to do it then.
Well,
Can I take a guess?
that's the thing. We didn't really do a whole lot in regards to getting an accent. It was mostly around like getting your mouth to work right. Because you notice when I speak, I kind of come up here. It's almost comes out, it almost comes out your nose in a say. And whereas like a British accent, it's kind of down here a little bit more.
Okay.
So your tongue, and for an American accent, the back of our tongue is often up for a lot of stuff. That's why we say, the ahs like hat and cat, and whereas with your when you guys do the ahs, it's like caught and stuff because the tongue is down here.
Oh wow, okay. So elocution.
Exactly. So we were learning that yesterday.
I suppose that probably I know obviously like accents change, like 'cause obviously in the States you've got like kind of more buttery tones from like the South and things like that, and then it is a little bit more kind of like nasal the further like north that you go. But it's weird because obviously in the UK there's such a small country, there's a massive chunk of accents. But it's strange that you say what you say, because that's probably why we have got like a slightly more dulcet sounding voice, a tone, if you know what I mean, than Americans. If we generalised, like the accent is slightly, it's like a step down, isn't it?
So how would you say, would you like a cup of tea?
With my American accent or my British accent?
Your New English accent.
My New English.
Trying to squeeze this one out of you.
Yeah. I got to do the tongue right. Would you like a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea?
Yeah,
I've only had one lesson, just so we're clear.
That's not bad.
And we haven't really started into a lot of that stuff.
I was once in Mexico and got compared to Harry Potter, Mary Poppins, and one other, which I can't remember, but it was very much, oh, hello, Harry Potter, would you like a cup of tea? But that sounds really Cockney, and I'm not a Cockney.
Oh.
but when I'm in other countries, like a lot of people tend to say that I've got a posh voice or posh, and I really haven't. Like, it's totally not. And also where I live,
you don't sound overly regional. I don't think I do either. So,
but
maybe I do.
Where I live now, like like a lot of the people there as well, they say like I live further north than where I'm from, but they also are like, oh, you sound dead posh, and it's just like, I'm like, honestly, I am not posh.
It's like, clearly you haven't spent any time in England. Okay, well, I did my fancy British accent there. So how about you doing a audition for My Little Mermaid? Can you regale us with any of your Little Mermaid songs?
My songs.
Lucy, yes.
Oh, wow.
It's also your favorite movie.
I can do a great rendition of Part of This World, but I'm not prepared to sing the whole thing. So I will go on.
We'll join in. We'll join in partway through.
One of the big parts of the audition was the Daddy, he's not a barbarian. So they think that Eric, the guy that lives on the land, is a barbarian because he doesn't live in the sea. And so it was very much, Daddy, he's not a barbarian.
That's good.
That's better than I could ever do.
Yeah, actually, that was very good. I can't believe they did not give you the part.
I mean, very Californian, but
yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's got that kind of Disney element to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally. You were robbed, I say.
So robbed. I mean, the hair colour's probably not cutting it, but maybe next time.
Right. Well, I think in terms of Disney, that's probably, I've got an even more important question than, Disney related questions, and it's more around. So, Lucy, could you tell anything? This is a really serious question on Rip It Up, and we always ask this to our guests.
Okay.
And it is, what is your favourite cheese, or even cheeses?
Cheese. Okay.
It's our Pandora's box of questions.
Wowzers. Okay. So, first of all, my spirit animal is a mouse. So that's a good start. Crikey. It's definitely not Dairylea triangles, which kind of got me here.
Yeah, that was one of the answers for the giveaway, wasn't it?
Giveaway, yeah.
Juanita's cheese. Yeah, that's right.
In South Sudan, I think it was Dairylea cheese triangles.
Yeah, I listened well. I think it's definitely got to be something with a flavour, so like a smoked cheese or Yeah, I think a smoked cheese would probably be my favourite.
What
I'm
kind of
gonna
like so
like,
applewood, smoked applewood or something like that?
yeah,
Or?
definitely, yeah, especially with some biscuits and caramelized onion chutney, and I mean it's very seasonal for me. Christmas time, I like to get the wine out and the cheese and biscuits, but it's my all-time dessert. If I was going to go for a dessert, that would be my dessert. So, or cheese board every time.
Good choice with the smoked cheese. I like this. I like
cheese,
smoked cheese as well. Yeah.
If I had a second, maybe something not so pokey, but maybe something with like a herb in, a nice boursin maybe. I don't know if you've heard of boursin.
Also, kind of like
cheese,
that'd be like roulette, isn't it? I think it's kind of like a wheel, you know, like a wheel of cream cheese, and it's got the. I think Castello also do one. I think that they do like a pineapple one as well. Like that.
Oh, that's nice. I've tried that. Yeah, I think that's really nice.
Yeah, pineapple cheese. No, what do you like with pineapple and cheese combos?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go pineapple and cheese. That seems weird, but
I go pineapple and cottage cheese. So that's
okay.
Yeah, I'm out there.
Yeah, I reckon a softer cream cheese definitely works well with the pineapple.
Like a savoury, sweet savoury.
Okay. All right. I'd try it. I'll try anything.
What UK cheeses have you had, Milo? Because obviously cheddar is just like a standard staple. But
so the problem with most stores like the Sainsbury's and the Tesco's is you have 5 varieties of cheddar, and then maybe like 2 other options. So there's not a huge variety to choose from unless you go to like, you know, a place that specializes in cheeses. Like, so, you know, you could go down to Harrods or whatever and visit their cheese section and get like a nice variety or something like that. So you have to actually really.
But then you've got to kind of take out a mortgage to.
You do. You have to.
Cheeses are cheap.
Yeah. So it is much harder to find cheeses here. You definitely have to seek them out in more specialty stores.
Well, our local Sainsbury's, we have a whole aisle dedicated to cheese. So we're clearly in the Midlands, it's pretty popular.
Oh wow!
But if you go to like kind
you
of
have a nicer Sainsbury's than I do.
Yeah, a lot of the like kind of like around the UK, like a lot of the there's lots of like independent like small cheese producers, and I think even like near where I'm from, like so like in Derbyshire, there's quite a few that do they do like a version of Stilton, which is like a creamy white Stilton, which is really nice, and they often like whack a bit of fruit in there if you want it. But there's lots of little ones. So it'd be really cool, I think, for yourself, Milo, depending on how much longer you're in the UK or whatever, but actually definitely seek out some of these kind of like farmers markets and you might get the odd one in London, like I know down at like kind of like Bank and Borough Market and that area, you can pick up a few like select ones, but you'll definitely get them cheaper if you kind of like have a little journey out of town and hunt out some of the
Find a museum that you can milk a cow at, and then you can make your own cheese. That was a cool trip of mine.
So you milked a cow and made your own cheese?
In certain museums in the Midlands, you can milk a cow and you can make your own cheese.
Wow.
That is a thing.
I've never heard that. Are you giving us on?
No, I swear. Yeah, it was one of my favourite school trips. Maybe that's where my love of cheese came from. I don't know.
Wow.
I'd never heard of that before. It was like in the Midlands as well, so it wasn't like a Somerset cheese maker.
Haddon-Hall. Yeah, it's good fun.
I will. I don't know if I'll go that far, but I definitely will try to seek out more cheeses, especially now that London is opening up again and I can actually go places.
I like Harrods.
Yeah, maybe not Harrods, but I'll try to find some markets. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon a little wander around Borough Market or something would be a good one. It'll be a little bit more. It's not that localized because Borough is more South London, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. Well, they might bring some stuff in.
Yeah, you can go and take a bit of a journey.
Yeah.
An excuse to take the girlfriend for a little trip out as well.
She is much more of a cheese fanatic than I am. So if you ask that question to her, she would probably list off all of the cheeses that we've had since living here.
I would do that too.
Yeah. So she would be like,
Milo, don't forget. So your girlfriend knows what cheeses there are available in the UK. you're more of a cheese it fan, aren't you? Obviously,
It's true. It's all about cheese and
Maybe your
crackers.
next podcast should be a cheese off.
Yeah,
You go strap off the cheeses.
we should. Yeah, I mean, we talk so much about cheese on this podcast, on this show, that we should actually. All right, so let's stop talking about cheese. Stop talking about cheese.
Yeah,
and
cheese always.
Move on. So, Kev, survey questions.
Yeah,
What do we got?
we've just got a few more kind of comments coming through there, basically along the same lines of the question. I've got somebody saying that why are you even asking this question? Okay, why did you feel the need to comment on that question? Well, that's we put this up for the.
Sorry, the question of like, have you ever thought about being in theater?
Yeah. So because we got quite a few comments in, and yeah, it's the same question, but they basically just said, why would you ask that question? So then I don't know why they would feel the need to actually put in the effort to comment on it, really. But okay, fair enough. As we say, we leave it as for the public. Fair enough. Someone else has put that I am actually a theatre actor. What do you do? Tell us more. We'll have you on the show.
Yeah, really, absolutely. Bring that person on. Talk to us about being a theatre actor.
Bring them on.
I think potentially we have got someone lined up who is a writer and director of theatre in the future. So
excellent.
That links quite well. And then so a few more kind of silly ones. I won't mention those because they do swears in there. So and our show is for all.
Positive.
Our show is for all people. So even the kids, no censorship needed. So that's kind of pretty much it, other than the usual, so very similar to some of the others. Kind of like they really love the idea of it. Some people just really, really love the theatre, but they have never actually kind of like pursued the idea of becoming like a stage actor. Got a few people saying, I've done several Amdram kind of performances and things like that. So
Amdram?
So amateur dramatics in the UK is kind of So basically, a lot of the kind of smaller theatres around the UK.
A lot of my friends have done that. It's really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, have you ever been in any?
Unfortunately not, but it's something that I've definitely considered. But it does take up a very large chunk of time. So it's every evening, every weekend. And don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to the dedication to what the guys do on stage, but I think it's one of those things that has to be like an internal hobby. And unfortunately, at the moment, my work-life balance wouldn't command that, but it's certainly something for the future. It's something for all ages as well, and all abilities. And you can be in the background, you can be at the front of house, you can have a part in everything. Even entertainment and refreshments. It's it's a quite a big deal out there, but something I've definitely thought about, and I'm quite excited about the thought of doing that maybe in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed a guy, and I want to say he was in his 60s and kind of had always dreamed and retired, and was like, you know what, I'm going to finally do this, and went out and started auditioning for stuff, and got cast in the first play that he auditioned for.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive.
When they're looking for the right person, You don't have to look like, a certain person. So.
Well, that was it. It was funny too, because he was talking on his getting stage directions. They're doing the blocking, and they're like, okay, from here, and then you go to stage left, and he's like, what stage left? So he had to get the basic stuff. Okay, so for you, Lucy, then besides Ariel, if you could play any character in a stage show, what would it be?
Oh wow! I think it's going to have to be Eponine from Les Mis.
Oh, really?
Ooh, that'd be.
Yeah, really. She's a huge character in the entire show, and what she does for me from the stage to the audience is just phenomenal.
It's very
powerful. Really.
Well,
powerful.
she goes through quite transformation as a character as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very dramatic character.
I've seen the show a couple of times, but I've laughed and I've cried, and it's been sometimes it's been the soundtrack. It can be the soundtrack of your life as well. Some of the songs she sings and the messages she tries to get through to the audience, and I definitely think people believe her as well when she's conveying the acting. It's quite powerful.
Yeah, good choice. Very, very good character.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely a very, let's say, very dramatic character, and as Milo says, they go through a huge transition throughout.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the most, I'd say, out of all the characters in that in Les Mis, it's probably the most complex character of them all. I'd say. I don't know. Others might.
I mean, Joel Van goes through a bit of a the mill. But...
Yeah, he does. But yeah, I mean, that's. Yeah, I just think she goes through the biggest transition more. They all do, because obviously it's centered around revolution and
soundtrack to my life. It's something that I play constantly in the car, in the home, and it's
and sing along to.
I was going to say, what's one of your favorite?
Yes.
What's one of your favorite tunes from?
Wow.
From Les Mis?
Bring Him Home by Alfie Boe is a massive. Well, when Alfie Boe was Jean Val was a huge hit. That's Alfie Boe. He's a massive West End veteran, shall we say? But I actually quite like Master of the House.
Okay.
It's the fun part of the entire show. It's the one part that you go. So you sort of, it starts here, and it's happy. He escapes. It dips, and then you have a sadness, and it's all a bit ooh and a bit low, and you kind of feel the emotion. But then all of a sudden it dips up, and then you've got the master of the house in the pub landlord, and he's dancing around with his wife and the child. And I think it's a part of the show that just gives you that little lift you need before you have to go down again. So for me, it's quite a poignant part of the play. So although I love absolutely every single soundtrack, and I could relay them from start to finish, which I'm not going to because it's taken age, but I think Master of the House was probably one of the biggest ups for me in the show, because it was so much fun. And they come across as a real character, like a proper landlord. And I was quite lucky enough to see Matt Lucas play Master of the House. And I've also seen Sacha Baron Cohen do it as well. So
wow.
Yeah, I think that.
How many times have you seen the show?
I've seen it 3 times, and I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, should be opening up here, coming back.
Because talking to Master of the House, it reminds me a little bit of, in Oliver, when obviously they're all in the pub and Nancy's there making a distraction. I can't remember the song, but it's like
how it goes.
Yeah, and it's kind of it reminds me of that in Les Mis as well. It's that kind of all that going on, and there's kind of like it's right before a real low point as well, which I think I remember in Oliver. Yeah, because they're trying to obviously get him out, aren't they? They're trying to get him hustling away.
I think with every sad story to a musical, there's always you've got to have that little bit of a lift. It is a roller coaster of emotions, and that's what they try and convey to the audience. And quite often they do that, and which is why people continue to go back. They want to see it over and over again. It's almost a bit of a torture, because I know exactly what point I'm going to cry at, what point I'm going to laugh at, but I still forget things. So every time I see it, I can see a different angle to the story. And the French Revolution was such a massive deal. So.
And with different, because obviously you've seen it, live performances so many times as well. Seeing different people play those roles and how they put them across as well, because that can make you have different feelings
as well. And I was worried about Matt Lucas did such a great job of Master of the House. I thought, no one can beat him, And then next time I saw it, I completely forgot that it was Matt Lucas, because it was Master of the House, and off he went into his character. So I think when you go into that character, you kind of disappear down a rabbit hole, and you are that person. So clearly the whole production of obviously have a very good standardization of what that Master of the House is supposed to look like, as opposed, same as with the other stage actors. So they rotate, but they have a standard, and they all pick that standard up and off they go. I'd
love to see Sacha Baron Cohen doing that, because I think he'd be amazing. Actually, like it's just seems like a real good fit actually for that.
You can see him on TV.
But also talking that, because obviously, you've seen Les Mis so many times, but also, so what would your opinion be of the actual, most people, if you say to them about Les Mis, they talk about the actual film adaptation. So what would you, the more recent one, I don't know when it was, like say 10 years ago now, with obviously Russell Crowe and all that jazz in there. What would your opinion be of that? Because having seen, the theatre performance, what would your take be on the film adaptation? You can't beat
film. You can't beat theatre. Film can be very re-rehearsed and re-rehearsed and re-rehearsed. So, you can get that perfection. for me, it's all about the conveying the emotion on the stage, from the stage to the audience. And that whatever, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're singing, you're podcasting, you're dancing, how that audience perceive that performance is quite a big deal for me. So you could watch a film over and over again. It's probably slightly different to perhaps watching it in the theatre in a cinema to watching a film at home. You've got the big sound, you've got the surround, everything is magnified. You're paying to watch a performance, and I think what they do on stage as a live performance to me is just phenomenal. You're in the atmosphere. You almost feel you feel the breath as they're singing. It's that powerful sometimes.
Okay, cool. Well, so now we kind of reach our segment, which is one of Milo's most favourite segments of the show. And this is where we get to turn the tables, because we've spent a little bit of time asking you a few questions. But this is now our mini feature called Ask an American. And you get a chance to pose a question to Milo.
Okay.
Oh, and in case I didn't do it there, but I mentally rolled my eyes, by the way, when you referred to it as my...
That's okay.
I saw it in my own mind. I saw it in my own mind too.
All right.
Okay. So you're from Seattle. So so you're normally behind the mic. If you were sleepless in Seattle, would you call a radio show?
Would I call a radio show? No. I've never in my life thought to myself, you know what? I need to call this radio show. No.
Well, even if you was feeling like down, lonely, you know.
If I would be a guest on, I mean, if they were like, hey, special guest Milo Denison, absolutely. But in regards to like, hey, I'm home alone sitting on my fancy houseboat in Lake Washington and feeling lonely. So I'm going to. Yeah, exactly. No, definitely.
Oh, dang.
I reckon you might do if as part of the calling was that, you know, the most convincing calling would win like a kind of multi-pack box of Cheez-It. I reckon you'd be there in a flash.
So I did once call into a show that you know how they'll play a clip of a song and they'll say like first caller to, you know, name this song or whatever, win something. So I did do that. And I remember the song was a Dire Straits song. And so I called him like, yeah, such and such by Dire Straits. And they're like, yeah, you're a winner. I'm like, great. And then the prize was a CD, right? So I had to go down to the station to get my prize. And they just basically give you this box of shitty old CDs that had been given to them. And they're like, okay, pick your CD. And I don't even remember what the CD was because it was some super crappy CD. And I'm like, this is the best you have. Like, that's what I get for winning. That was terrible.
It's like a bargain bucket single, you know.
A consolation prize.
It really was. It was awful. And I'm like, so I had to drive down here to pick out of a box of Cds for my prize.
So you had a bad experience with the radio station. So
yes.
I totally understand. Okay.
I've been spurned. Yeah. Okay. Well, in our most recent episode of this, I turned it around onto Kev, and I'm going to do that again today. So,
okay.
So I'm sure what's up with the beanie caps? Because I know you have hair. Because you unintentionally didn't have your beanie cap on once before we started up a call. So I know you have hair. So what's up with the beanie caps? Because you always have one on.
Because I am actually an artist. I am really the real artist called Badly Drawn Boy.
Yeah, he's the real Banksy.
I knew it. I recognise that.
Yeah, but I'm Banksy with a double E rather than a Y on the end. No, I am an artist called Badly Drawn Boy. So you'll have to check. Well, you're talking to him now. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Can I have your autograph?
Unless do you want to press me on that? Do you want to press me on that anymore?
Badly Drawn Boy. I don't know how I would press you on that. So sure.
To be honest, it was the perfect name to use because, you know, it's a depiction of myself. Badly Drawn Boy. You know, if someone did a scrawly, rubbish sketch, they would probably draw a picture of me.
That should be your next challenge.
There we go. Next competition is like
draw a picture.
Yeah, Yep.
Draw a picture of the badly drawn bamboo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I might enter that.
Yeah.
You may see me again.
You'll be on the show twice.
I think the prize would probably be that you'd get to keep your own drawing.
Keep your own drawing. And the prize this time around is frame your own drawing.
Yeah. I'm not sure if anyone
Congratulations.
wants it, but we'll give it a good go.
We'll send you some tape or something to pin it to the wall. Yeah, so, okay. So we're kind of going to wrap up. We've had that kind of question about, did you ever had dreams of appearing on stage? So I'm kind of going to go and throw that one back as we kind of close things up a little bit. So, yeah, so for you, Lucy, so did you ever have dreams of appearing on stage as a theatre actor?
I mean, when I was a child, one of my ambitions, so I had three: a professional skier, an astronaut, and a clown.
Mm.
And I remember my dad once saying to me that you will always achieve one of those, and I think it was the clown. I've always been like the dancey.
What, as a professional clown or just as a life?
Absolutely, yeah. I actually dressed up as a clown or trapeze artist or something entertaining. I've always had a passion for the stage and that kind of thing, but it just never happened for me. And I think if I could have a purge, I would definitely be one of those people that would sneak off and become a West End sensation. That would be probably one of my goals and life dreams. But it's never too late, and we've always got the Amateur Dramatic Society when I'm 85, and maybe I can play one of the older characters. But yeah, I definitely would have loved to have done that, but I think the young theatre schools are fantastic, but my opportunity wasn't there at that time, and I would love to have pursued something like that. But I just love the thought of being able to evoke such emotion from a situation to an audience. From stage to an audience is just, it's pretty much a phenomenal talent. So it impresses me every time I see it. No matter how many times I'll see Les Mis, every time I'll have the same emotion and everything else.
No, cool. I kind of agree with that as well. So, but what about yourself, Milo? In terms of, have you actually done any kind of stage stuff as well?
Yeah, I've performed in quite a few stage productions.
Have you?
Yeah. I was cast in a stage production here that got canceled because of COVID. So the month that it was supposed to open was the first lockdown. I auditioned for a stage thing this week, actually, this last week, but I actually turned it down once I got a better idea of the script. It was a bit too art house for me.
Mm-hmm. What was the role?
It was, I'm not fully sure that's part of the problem.
It could be quite confusing.
Yeah. And it was a small thing. I don't mind, small theater, big theater, doesn't matter. But it just wasn't the right role for me. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. And I think they just would have been more well suited going with somebody that was more enthusiastic.
I could imagine you playing in Miss Saigon.
Miss Saigon? I can't sing.
No, you don't need to sing, just dance.
Just dance around.
Helicopter pilot.
Yep, exactly. I've lost my baby in Saigon. Yeah. I don't know any of the songs from Miss Saigon.
You could easily play the helicopter pilot. That'd be okay.
Can you dance?
No. Well, unfortunately, not well. How about that?
Okay, but you can act.
I can act, yes. So I'm a decent stage actor. And I'm not that great of a singer and I'm not that great of a dancer. So musicals, I've done one musical in my life and it was the only bad review I ever had.
Maybe Sweeney Todd would be a good one. You could be a barber.
Maybe that would work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the kind of
by the way, I saw that locally. The great.
Some of the more like vocal based.
Yeah.
I know that's difficult, but you could.
If Johnny Depp can do it, I can do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
See, I can sing and dance, but I think the problem is other people know that I can't.
That's your response. So have you ever done any stage theater, Kev, or wanted to do?
No, not. There's things I probably would. I'd be confident enough to go ahead, but I've never actually auditioned for anything like that at all. To be fair, I just like
the local Andrew.
Probably should. Probably, when things that come up, I probably should go for them. But no, I never have. Even though I do have a good interest in theatre, musicals, all of that. I'd quite happily, go along and give it a bash. But yeah, maybe I just should. But don't know why I haven't actually. Strange that.
Hmm.
The worst thing that can happen is they'll cast somebody else.
Exactly.
Worst thing,
Like a little
they'll
moment.
just.
My awful accent.
Worst thing that'll happen is they'll just say, like, they'll just drag me off and just be like, "Don't you ever come here again?"
Yep.
But no, I haven't. So.
All right, that's fine. Last question for you, Lucy, is since we're talking about stage, what will the next stage show or musical you will see now that things are actually opening back up? What's the first thing you're going to see when you can?
Well, last year I saw 1,000 Splendid Suns, which was a really powerful local production about Afghanistan and the suppression on families that were there. And I always said that it might be my next thing to see again because I loved it so much. I missed so much of it. I think there's things that I could perhaps pick up on a second time round, but I'm so desperate to see Les Mis that I've already got it earmarked. Yeah, because again, it's just one of those things that it just gives me. It's my pickup. I've got to say, once a year, it's got to be. It doesn't matter whether it's local or in the West End or the Broadway or wherever it may be. For me, it's just the whole production, and I know that they put it so well together. So I've kind of got a bit of a plan for my mother-in-law's birthday to be able. She absolutely you've actually introduced me to Les Mis. We have a bit of a long-standing funny story about that, which is sort of like an in-joke, but she introduced me to it, so it'd be nice to get a ticket to go back and see that. And my plans are I think the tickets go live in July, so watch this space.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you talk about kind of, obviously it's not just the kind of the people in front of the curtain as well. Like so
Absolutely,
many people,
yeah.
as well as obviously all the actors.
Oh, good. I mean,
so many. Yeah, what I was going to kind of touch on is that like so many of those people have also been out of work, and a lot of those roles are very much part time as well. They're just only required kind of during the shows or like at the box office and all those little parts that make the whole whole nuts and bolts that come together that make the whole thing come. And all like the backstage crew.
You've got the orchestra, the toilet attendants, the refreshments, the ticket masters, everything.
Well, they make all those things run as smoothly as possible, so that the actors can actually just concentrate on doing, putting their performance across. Because so I think we have to kind of have massive kudos to all of those people and the fact that they're now getting a chance to come back and actually
do what they love. Yeah,
do their job that they enjoy.
They do those jobs as a result of loving the theatre as well. So even the people that clean the chairs afterwards, and pick up the litter and to clean the toilets, they probably have a passion for the theatre because they want to be in that environment. Yeah, kudos to those.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I reckon so, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Lucy, for joining us. You were a fantastic guest. That was wonderful.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed it. It took my mind off work today.
Well, glad we could help.
Nice reflection.
And when you do decide to audition for your first play and then become famous, you will be great at being interviewed on the talk shows. So you don't have to worry about that part. So
I'll give you a call.
Exactly. And of course, to you, our audience, thanks for joining us here on Rip It Up. And we hope you enjoyed the show and look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, cool. Cheers. Bye.